got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. It is Wednesday? No, Tuesday. What am I saying? Yeah, Tuesday. I don't know what day it is ever. August 25th. Went 3-1 on the show yesterday, so I'm happy about that. I have not updated the banner, which I guess I need to do that right now. What are we at here? 197, 143. Dude, I'm so out of it today because I think this is right. Because StreamYard wasn't letting me go live because of traffic issues. I'm like, what the hell, man? I know a lot about traffic issues, by the way, in Boston. But yes, I think that record is correct there now. There you go. 1 loss, 3 wins yesterday. Both unders were good in baseball. Red Sox and Marlins. That was a 1-1 game, like really late into the game. And then the Red Sox did put up some runs in the 9th inning. And at that point, I'm rooting for the Red Sox to win too. But I'm like, okay, your bullpen's good. That's good enough. Just 4-2. Let's end it that way. And that's what happened. And we got that one right. And then Pittsburgh, San Diego went into extra innings. I almost said both games went into extra innings. I don't think so, though. I think only Pittsburgh and San Diego did. And that game went 12 innings. Like, that game was so low scoring that it was 2-2 at the end of the first 9. But I'm thinking, oh, God, this is going to be one of those bad beats in extra innings with the stupid ghost runners, whatever. No. Even with the ghost runners, they couldn't score. It wound up being a 3-2 win, I think, for Pittsburgh. And it took 12 innings for either team to even score once, which was ridiculous. But, yeah, I'll take the under. I don't know what happened in the one loss. The Reds, Chase Burns not being able to outpitch Wisenhunt. I don't know what to tell you about that. It was the wrong play, but I can't figure it out. I mean, I'd probably make the same play again. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how that happened. I really don't. And then Golden State, we did get a winner in the WNBA. Golden State with a win, so that was good. Outright win. Easy win on that one. Win and cover. Hopefully people put something on the money line there. All right, let's get into today. I also did my college football preview show yesterday, so hopefully people caught that. I have to update it on the channel still. Got to do all that, make the thumbnail and whatever. It wasn't great by any means, but at least it'll give you some extra information. I think I got a few things wrong. I totally forgot Tulane was actually the team that won the American last year, of course, because they wound up in the stupid playoff and then got bounced immediately, which I completely forgot about because that's how useless putting those additional teams in is. All right, let's get into today. A bunch of baseball. It's all evening stuff. I will have 3 baseball plays here. We'll not have one in the first game here, which is Boston-Miami. The Red Sox won. As I mentioned, we got the under right yesterday, 4-2 win for the Red Sox. On the surface, it looks like the Red Sox should have the upper hand in this one as well, with debatably their best pitcher on the mound against a Miami pseudo bullpen game here. Weird things happen in baseball, though. Miami used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Red Sox used 3, but they did use Chapman again. Red Sox bullpen, they're supposed to get, I believe it's Whitlock is supposed to come back soon, and they need him, man. Red Sox hurting in the bullpen right now a little bit, although they're still number 1. in bullpen, and they're still doing a decent job out there. Miami is okay at 8th, but the Red Sox do have the better bullpen. Red Sox are 8th offensively at this point. They've been one of the top offensive teams since the All-Star break, which is kind of insane because their offense is not very stacked, really, but everybody's just doing their part. And Miami is 9th in offense, although I think the Red Sox at this point probably are the better offense, too. Peyton Tolle is pitching for the Red Sox in this one. 3.08 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's been good. He's been good on the road. 2.52 road ERA. Wasn't great in his last outing against Arizona at home, but he's generally been good. He has a really nice strikeout walk ratio this month, striking out a lot of guys, not walking too many, not really allowing that many hits either. Before that last game, the Red Sox had won 7 starts in a row that he'd made. He has a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. All those numbers look good. The strikeout walk ratio is good. Strikeout per 9 is good. He's putting up some solid stats, like I said, and expected ERA, he's one of the top 10 pitchers in baseball, I think, or at least he was before that last start. His numbers against Miami don't exist, so he has unfamiliarity against Miami, which might be an extra advantage to him because, as I always say, when these lineups face a pitcher they haven't seen before, a lot of times they struggle to figure him out, so that might be an extra advantage to Tolle. Tyler Phillips will be pitching for Miami. I will say that if you're going to play this game, I would pick Tolle must start, but don't pick a starter from Miami because it will be Phillips in the game, but they might put an opener in front of him or something like that. They've done that repeatedly. Phillips, 3.67 ERA, but his whip isn't very good at 1.37. He is good at home, though, 2.14 home ERA. Last time out, he only went 2 innings, though. Wasn't really that great in that outing. He's been okay recently, though, not allowing that many runs, whatever, but his overall numbers aren't really that good. I mean, he doesn't allow that many hits. His walk rate is kind of high, though. He doesn't really strike guys out, so his strikeout-walk ratio is ugly. Strikeout per 9 isn't really that good either. Red Sox, though, haven't really done anything against him, but it's 11 at-bats, 5 hitters to face him, very small sample, but they only have a 182 average, 636 OPS, 4.0 strikeout-walk ratio, and unexpectedly, Eli White has a home run off him, which is the only extra base hit. I mean, maybe an under is a consideration in this game again. I don't know if I fully trust Phillips, and the money seems to be indicating towards the over, but I would lean under in this game. The total's 7.5, so odds makers kind of telling you they think it's going to be low scoring. 60% of tickets on the under, 58% of the cash on the over, though. And the Red Sox are a heavily public side, 94% of the tickets. I mean, they're winning tons of games recently, so public is on them. 90% of the cash, so they're very public with less of the money on them. They've already dropped into the minus 160 range, so there is some real money coming in on Miami. I do think it's kind of a value play, though. Like, I would prefer to have the Red Sox pitching over Miami's pitching in this game. Like, Tolle plus the Red Sox bullpen should have the edge over Phillips and Miami's bullpen, so I would slightly lean to the Red Sox, but you would have to lay a -1 run line on that, and I don't trust it. I don't trust the market read on that. I think my preference would be under, but I am avoiding that game. Tampa Bay at Detroit. Detroit is not doing well at all. They've lost 6 games in a row. You can kind of explain yesterday's loss because it was a return home spot and they were facing an actual pretty good team in Tampa Bay. You can't really explain all their losses to the Royals, though. Detroit, this could go one of 2 ways here, man. They might consider themselves to be kind of done at this point and to be dead, or they might bounce back because they are in one of those spots where when a team returns home from the road and they do bad in that first game, a lot of times they do a lot better in the next game. So you could argue it is one of those bounce back spots for Detroit, and historically that is somewhat the case. But I worry about their mental state right now with the fact that they're probably not going to make the playoffs at this point. Really unbelievable. They couldn't win against the Royals at all. Detroit used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. I would argue Detroit is the better bullpen here. Tampa Bay used 3. Tampa Bay is ranked 4th, though, in bullpen. Detroit 14th based on whip, but Detroit's ERA is considerably better, so I don't know. I think Detroit might be the slightly better bullpen there. Rays have the better offense. They're 6th. Detroit is 14th. Detroit kind of struggling recently. Tampa Bay is not as good on the road, though, even though they did win yesterday. Detroit is a little bit better at home, so the home-road splits kind of favor Detroit as far as how the teams perform. Ian Seymour will be pitching for Tampa Bay. I would say that there is still a chance they put an opener in front of him. So if you're going to play this game, I'd probably pick Job must start for Detroit. Don't pick a starter for Tampa Bay, or just play the whole thing action, because both teams could potentially use an opener here, but it's likely going to be Seymour and Job for like the starter's workload in the game, at least. Seymour has a 4.17 ERA, 1.14 whip is pretty good, though. 4.7 road ERA, though, so he's not as good on the road. He's been okay recently. He has a really good strikeout walk ratio this month, 33-4. That is excellent. Although his last couple of starts, he kind of struggled because he was allowing home runs for whatever reason. Maybe not a good sign that the last one was against Toronto, and they hit 3 home runs off him, and they're not a good offense. But Seymour's generally been pitching pretty well recently. A lot of his numbers are coming out of the bullpen, though, so I would just be aware of that. But he's looked pretty good as a starter as well. He's got a low hit rate, pretty low walk rate here. Strikeout rate is also high, so those numbers are all good. Strikeout walk ratio is good. Strikeout per 9 is good. His numbers against Detroit, they only have 4 hitters who have faced him. They're combined 0 for 2, but with 3 walks and a strikeout. Not a lot to really dive into there, but I would kind of expect Seymour probably pitches all right here. Job is pitching for Detroit. Jackson Job. People were hyping him up after that one good start that he made, but I'm not so sure, man. He's got a 4.5 ERA, 1.36 whip isn't really that good. He's been awful at home so far, 14.73 ERA. He's only made 3 starts, though, and he only made 1 at home, and he got pounded by the White Sox. His other 2 starts were both fairly good, though. Did walk too many guys at Pittsburgh last time up, but he bounced back and held them to 1 run. That's not easy to do at Pittsburgh because their offense is really good at home. So Job, I mean, he looks like kind of a mixed bag here. His hit rate's mediocre. His walk rate's kind of mediocre. His strikeout rate's kind of mediocre. I don't know what to expect out of him here. He has a small sample size that we can look at so far. He's made 10 starts last year, which was his biggest sample size that we have, and he wasn't really that good. He put too many guys on base. Tampa Bay only has 1 guy who's faced him. Palacios has faced him. 0 for 1. No strikeouts, no walks. So Job does have unfamiliarity here, which could be a little bit of an edge to him. I don't know. I think I'd still have to lean Tampa here. I think Seymour is the better of the 2 pitchers in this one. Tampa's getting the money, even though it could be a bounce back spot for Detroit based on the scheduling dynamics, but they also might just pack it in, man, because it looks like they're not going to be in the playoffs here at this point. 80% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Tampa. They're at about minus 130 here. I'd probably lean that way. Maybe first 5 only for Tampa, although you might have to pay a little bit more for that, but that's all I got on that. And by the way, I will say Miami against the Red Sox. Miami probably does have more urgency because they're really trying to get a wild card, and they're one of the last teams in the wild card race, whereas the Red Sox have a pretty big lead over the teams below them in the wild card race. So I will point that out as well. And Detroit technically does have more urgency here because they're not technically eliminated. So, and Tampa Bay is in first place in the AL East still, I believe. So, Colorado at Washington. I mentioned this could be a high-scoring series because you have bad pitching here and generally pretty good hitting. Yesterday it was high-scoring, although I think I probably leaned Washington yesterday because I think it was Cavalli in that game yesterday, and Washington did indeed win by a pretty ridiculous score of 13-3. Neither bullpen is good, though. Washington used 3 relief pitchers. Colorado, 2. I would not trust either bullpen, though. Washington, number 26. Colorado, 27. Both offenses are pretty good. Washington, 3, although they've been a little bit worse recently. Colorado, number 4. And this is not at Coors Field. This is in Washington. Colorado has Mason Adams making his major league debut here. Interesting. He's listed as a relief pitcher. He is a little bit older to be making his major league debut at 26. He's not a huge guy, and basically he relies mostly on fooling guys with his off-speed stuff, so he doesn't throw that hard of a fastball. I couldn't get like a number on how fast it is, but he doesn't throw that hard. But he has like a really good curveball. That's his best pitch. And then I guess he has a pretty good slider as well and fools guys with those pitches. And he has like a mediocre changeup that he mixes in as well. So he has kind of a standard arsenal, but a good curveball. And he's projected to kind of be a potential late rotation arm. So he's not like this highly touted prospect, but that's what you're going to get out of him potentially here. His minor league numbers, he was in two different systems, I think, because I think he was originally with the White Sox, so he's probably pissed that he's now with Colorado. But in Colorado's AAA affiliate there, which I think is the Albuquerque Isotopes, makes me think of the Simpsons, the Springfield Isotopes, and moving them to Albuquerque. That was actually a plot line. Anyway, Adams has decent numbers in Albuquerque, but pretty good actually, but still, I just have no idea what to expect out of him here. Like, I like these guys that are like more highly touted prospects and you like know that they have really good stuff. Adams, for me, it's like, I don't know. I think we got to see what he can do at the major league level. Andrew Alvarez is getting the start for Washington. I presume he's going to start. If you're worried about that, again, you could just not pick a starter for Washington here or whatever, or go action on this if you really want to. If you're worried they might put an opener in front of Alvarez, it's the new state of baseball, man. He's been okay, 3.6 ERA, although his 1.34 whip is not really that good, and he's not as good at home, 4.24 home ERA. He's been pitching decent recently, not great, but all right. And his strikeout walk ratio is not really that good. He's walking kind of too many guys here. He's not really a huge strikeout pitcher, but he's also not allowing that many runs or hits here. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start in August, so give him credit for that. He's got a pretty low hit rate on the season. His walk rate is too high. His strikeout rate is okay, which tells you his strikeout walk ratio is not going to be that good, which is true. His strikeout per 9 is all right. Against Colorado, mediocre numbers here. They have 15 at-bats against them, 267 average, 722 OPS, 1 strikeout, 3 walks is not a good ratio, though. And they have 7 hitters who have faced him. This is a hard game to predict, man. I got pretty much nothing on this. I don't even really have a great opinion to give out on this. The money is coming in pretty strongly towards Colorado. 93% of tickets on Washington, 59% of the cash on Colorado. Washington's about minus 150. They have dropped a little bit in the market. I don't love it, man. I mean, I guess you're just playing the price there, I guess, and just basically banking on the unknown pitcher for Colorado. He will have an unfamiliarity edge at the very least, but Alvarez has been pitching okay, so I don't really know if I necessarily want to come in and fade him. The money's also playing the over 8.5, but I see some arguments maybe for a first 5 under in this game because Alvarez has been all right. His numbers against Colorado are all right. And then you're going to get unfamiliarity from Adams here in this one. So first 5 under, I think, makes more sense to me. I would not play the full game under because these bullpens are awful. My opinions on that game are very, very weak, though. A very hard game to figure out. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yes, thank you. Jules, yes. All right. It seems like those jewels translate into like a very small amount of money, but I still don't really know how they work. Houston at the Yankees. This will be the first game where the teams were off yesterday. There are no games today where any team has a rest advantage, I don't believe. You either have 2 teams that both already started their series and played each other yesterday, or you have 2 teams that were off yesterday. That's the case with Houston and the Yankees here. The Yankees are staying at home, and they've won most of their recent games here, so the spot looks fine for them. Houston will be coming in off of some ugly losses to the A's, starting a road trip. So I think it's a good bounce-back spot for Houston as far as coming off those bad losses at home. And Houston's got to have more urgency here because the Yankees have a pretty big lead in the wild card race here. Like, the Yankees are clearly not going to miss the playoffs, although I guess, they ideally would want to win the division. But Houston, they're right in the thick of it in the AL West, and they're probably going to need to win the division to get a wild card or to get into the playoffs. I mean, the wild card probably isn't coming from their division. So Houston's got to have more urgency here. Bullpen-wise, the Yankees are very good. They're number 2 in both ERA and whip. Houston is not bad, though. They're 13th, but Yankees have the better bullpen here. Houston is the better offense. They're number 10. Yankees at 16, tied with the Phillies and with the Diamondbacks. Yankees, their offense is probably going to start hitting well again once they get Judge back, but I don't know. Ethan Pecco is getting the start for Houston. I have no idea what you're going to get out of this guy. He's made 1 start so far in his career, and it didn't go that great, and it was against a bad Anaheim lineup. Yankees are obviously the better offense out of those two teams, even though they've been struggling recently, but it's going to be a step up from Anaheim to face the Yankees. Pecco wasn't really good in that start. He went 3 2/3 innings, gave up 3 walks, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. He was striking out guys at least, but the wildness was really the big concern with that outing. Yankees will be unfamiliar with him, but I talked about Pecco going into that start. His numbers look mediocre in the minors. Like, I don't think there's anything that great about him, although I may have to change what I've been saying about him if he actually starts pitching well. I wouldn't really trust him, though. The Yankees are going with Will Warren here, who I don't think is that trustworthy either. He's the worst pitcher in the Yankees rotation. 4.43 ERA, 1.4 whip is definitely not that good. He's basically the same home and away. His home road splits are not significant. He's not pitching well recently, though. He's failed to make it 5 innings in his last couple starts. He's been allowing too many hits, too many walks recently. Strikeout rate's been fine, but he's been a little bit out of control. He's got a high hit rate on the season. That's not really that good. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is decent. Or actually, I would say it's good. It's like 9/9. So his strikeout walk ratio isn't too bad, but he does still walk too many guys. Strikeout per 9 is all right. So he does have good strikeout stuff. I don't really think I would trust Warren in this game, though. He's not in good form right now, and the Astros have definitely beat him up. They have 36 at-bats against him, a 444 average, 1209 OPS, 3-1 strikeout walk ratio. I think I would play the over if I was going to play this game, even though I know I tend to lean more towards unders when both teams are coming off a day of rest, because you have the rested bullpens. The offenses might have cooled off a little bit, but I think the over would be the way to play this. I don't trust either pitcher here. I guess you could do it like an action play as well if you're worried about like Houston putting some opener in front of Pecco. I have no idea what they're actually going to do here. Total's at 9. It's right on that key number of 9. So odds makers kind of expecting it to be a bit of a high-scoring game. I mean, there are some other problems with that, like namely the Yankees' offense really has not been good recently, so they've been playing a lot of low-scoring games for the most part. But I don't know. This game looks like one where I think runs might be getting scored here. 52% of tickets on the over and 55% of the cash on the under, though. So the money is coming in on the under slightly, but I don't agree with that. The money is also backing Houston, and that's the strongest market read here. Yankees are very public at 83% of the tickets. They've already dropped from a minus 147 opener down to like minus 140. So some real money is coming in on Houston. It looks like it's 74% of the cash on Houston. I mean, if you wanted to find a way to play Houston here, I don't think I would play them on the side, although you could like take them in the first 5 or something, and they are kind of in a bounce back spot here. If you're going to try to play Houston, I would combine my two opinions, and maybe this is the best way of playing it. I would play Houston over their team total. Maybe that's the best way of playing this, because Houston beats Warren up, so they should be able to get some runs here. They're in the bounce back spot. I think there are going to be runs in the game generally. Houston is the better of the two offenses here. Although, if you do agree with that, you're kind of also sort of agreeing with the Houston side, which I don't really disagree with the Houston side. I will say that, but Houston's team total over makes some sense, and they're an underdog, so you won't really need them to score as many runs here. Like, if they get to 5, you're going to win that bet probably, which sounds like kind of a lot, but I don't know. It is a hitter-friendly stadium too, though. So those are my thoughts on that. Next game will be one of my plays. This one feels really ugly, but you know me. I mean, this is something that I do. We're going to take the Kansas City Royals, the hottest team in baseball, the Kansas City Royals in the first 5. No, I think they lost a game recently, right? I like the Royals in this one. They're playing against Toronto, so we're not playing the Royals against a very good team here. Toronto's in a bad spot, in my opinion. They're returning home from a road trip where they face the top 2 teams in the division, the Rays and the Yankees. So those are big series for Toronto to try to play spoiler. They played fairly well. They split the road trip. I believe they went 3-3 on the road trip. They beat the Rays and lost to the Yankees. They did also play the Yankees and the Red Sox prior to that, too. So this series, I don't really see them getting up for this series, right? So the return home, a lot of times it's a distraction. You got to get back to home life, whatever. Do you think they're really going to get up for the Royals after playing all these teams within their division that are probably all going to make the playoffs? Yeah, probably not. So I think this is a bad spot for them. Now, the Royals, yeah, they're hot. They've won a bunch of games in a row. They've won 7 games in a row, I think is what this is. 8? Is it 8? It might be 8. They are coming off a sweep of Detroit, so you could make the argument that Kansas City's in a letdown spot. I do see that argument because that was a big sweep. They basically spoiled Detroit's season. So normally I'd be looking to go against the Royals here too, but I think the spot is worse for the Jays. Royals are at least starting a road trip with momentum, and the Royals, they're kind of just, they're playing like loose, I would say. You know what I mean? Like the Royals have nothing to lose at this point. So, although neither team really does here, but yeah, I think the Royals are in a better spot here, but I also like the starting pitching here better. As far as the bullpens, and by the way, these two teams were off yesterday as well, I believe. As far as the bullpens, yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm going first 5 here. We all know the Royals have a terrible bullpen, so I'm going to exclude them. Toronto's bullpen is better. They're ranked 16th. I think they might be better than that, especially because their closer is good. The Royals are ranked dead last, although I think they're 29th. I think the A's are worse, but the Royals are a terrible bullpen. Toronto is a really bad offense. They're 28th, and the Royals are 19th, so the Royals might be able to do something a little bit offensively in this game. We'll need them to do something to get this one to come home. We're going to back Seth Lugo here again, even though I know he's not really that good. 4.71 ERA, 1.38 whip. He's not that good on the road, so I know I'm like, why are we backing him here? 5.63 road ERA. Well, it's about the spot. Like, Toronto's in a bad spot. Lugo has been... He's given up a lot of runs recently, but some of it I think is a little bit misleading. And the Royals have actually won his last 3 starts, so they've been giving him run support. Yes, he's allowed too many runs, but his command has been good over those 3 starts. He has 12 strikeouts and 1 walk over those 3 starts, so it's not like he's not in command here. He's been a little bit too hittable. There's no question about that. And he's been... yeah, like too hittable on the season. I don't like that. His hit rate is high. His walk rate's not really that good. His strikeout rate isn't really that good either. So the advanced analytics guys don't like him. He's got a pretty low strikeout walk ratio. It's gone down over the years. He is kind of old now. His strikeout per 9 is also not really good at this point, but I think this is a fine matchup for him. I think the spot sets up better for the Royals, and he's facing one of the worst lineups in baseball, Toronto here, and Lugo has been good against them in the past. 41 at bats against them in his career, 195 average allowed. That's really low. 615 OPS. It's 13-6 strikeout walk ratio, so the walks are a little bit concerning, but other than that, these numbers are pretty good here. So I will back Lugo here, and I'm going to fade Max Scherzer, even though he looks like he's pitching a little bit better. Scherzer's pretty untrustworthy, man. I mean, I doubt that he's going to continue trying to pitch next year. He's got a 7.4 ERA this year, 1.5 whip. He's been really bad at home, 8.33 home ERA. He was pitching fairly well for a few starts in a row, but not going deep into those starts. And then he got bombed last time up by Tampa Bay, so that might not be a good sign. I mean, Scherzer, his strikeout rate's gone way down from what it once was. He's had some command issues recently. Like, he's not really in good form right now. He's got a high hit rate, high walk rate. Strikeout rate is way down from what he used to do, like I said. It's by far his worst strikeout walk ratio he's ever had. Not even close. It's awful. Below 2. His strikeout per 9 is the lowest that he's ever posted as well. I mean, he's 42 years old, so he's still going out there trying to do it. Probably, it's for the love of the game, man. Like the Kevin Costner movie. Actually, a decent movie where Costner is the aging pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, trying to complete his career in a meaningful way or whatever. That's Scherzer at this point. Scherzer, what was I going to say? I forget. I don't even remember what else I was going to say. But yeah, his strikeout per 9 is really low. And, of course, the clincher for me is that he doesn't do well against the Royals. Surprisingly, I thought these numbers would actually be better, but a lot of it is Salvador Perez kills them. But overall, this lineup has done well against them. They have 62 at-bats, although he has 35 of them are Perez. 323 batting average, 1,011 OPS, 9-1 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, I say we do it. I think the spot lines up for it. I think we are actually backing the better of the two pitchers here, believe it or not, by backing Lugo. The money seems to be kind of disagreeing with me. It looked like it was agreeing with me earlier. 62% of the tickets, 68% of the cash on Toronto. I do not agree with that, though. Toronto's in the minus 120-something range here. First five, obviously, we're excluding the bad Kansas City bullpen here. But, yeah, I think it's the way to go here. I don't think I have a whole lot else to say about it. But, yeah, you can't really get them at plus money here. I don't think you can get them at a very small minus money price, like minus 104 was what I found out there. And the money is back in the over in that game, over 8.5. I don't disagree with that, even though Toronto's offense is really bad, and it seems difficult to actually play an over in a Toronto game, but the pitching really isn't good in that game. Like, the only good pitching that you really have involved in that game is Toronto's bullpen, so there are more indicators for an over than an under, so I would not disagree with the over in that game either. All right, Milwaukee and the Mets, these two teams were also off yesterday. The Mets returning home from a quick road trip, but they only went to the White Sox, so it's not one of those long road trip returns, and I don't see the Mets overlooking the Brewers here. The Mets are just playing out the stretch. Brewers have a lot of well, I don't know if they have a lot of padding, but yeah, they're doing pretty well here. They have a 5.5 game lead right now in their division. So the Brewers might be a little bit on cruise control here. Plus, Brewers just had a big series over the weekend against the Braves, and they finished in the Little League World Series Classic playing against the Braves in Pennsylvania and lost that game on Sunday night on ESPN. So they're coming off a big game there. Yes, they're starting a road trip here, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. And they're already kind of on the road because it was that weird neutral site game there. So it is kind of a short travel leg to go from the middle of Pennsylvania just to New York here. But still, I think the spot sets up a little bit better for the Mets, believe it or not, than it does for Milwaukee. Even though the Mets are returning from Chicago, it was a quick road trip. Bullpen-wise, both bullpens are good in this series. The Milwaukee's number 5. The Mets are number 7. Milwaukee is the better bullpen. I think Milwaukee, at this point, is probably the third best bullpen in baseball behind the Yankees and the Red Sox, or the Red Sox and the Yankees, whichever one you want to rank ahead of the other. Milwaukee's ranked 7th in offense. They're definitely better offensively than the Mets. The Mets are 25th. Mets have been a little bit better recently. Kyle Harrison is getting the start from Milwaukee, though. He's had a really good season, 2.84 ERA, 1.11 whip. However, he's been surprisingly pretty bad on the road. 5.01 road ERA. His road numbers have become way worse. His last 3 road starts have all been ugly. One was at San Diego. He got bombed in that game at San Diego. That's not a good sign, although the fielding really kind of hurt him there. A lot of unearned runs there, which that got corrected later, I believe. The scoring on whatever that was, but whatever it was, he still didn't pitch well in that game. And the 2 road starts prior to that, St. Louis, they're not a good offense either. Also, St. Louis, San Diego, pitcher-friendly parks, so not a good sign. Harrison did really badly in those 2. He did poorly against Arizona, too, but at least that's more of a hitter-friendly ballpark there. But yeah, his last 3 road starts have been bad, so he's definitely having some issues right now on the road. His last 2 home starts have both been good, though, including his last home start against Seattle, which was he pitched in that 22-0 game. And his strikeout walk ratio is still really good this month. He's striking out a ton of guys. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate on the season. All those numbers are good. Really good strikeout per 9. So it has been a breakout season for him. Really good strikeout per 9 and strikeout walk ratio. I mean, both the best that he's ever posted in his career. However, 3 road starts in a row for him haven't been good, and believe it or not, his numbers against the Mets are not good, although they only have 5 hitters who have faced him, 14 at bats, but they have a 357 average against him. 786 OPS isn't that high, but it's still not great. 3.0 strikeout walk ratio. I could see it going both ways because you don't really want to weigh the sample size too heavily, but when I first looked at this game, I was thinking like maybe an under in this game with these 2 starting pitchers, but Harrison, his road numbers recently are bad enough, and his matchup numbers are bad enough that I am staying away from that. Zach Thornton is pitching for the Mets. Advanced analytics guys don't like him because he's not a strikeout guy, but he's been pretty good. 3.04 ERA, 1.15 whip is good, which is more of what I look at, like how many guys are you putting on base. He's been a little bit worse at home, but not by much. His home road splits are pretty insignificant. he is walking too many guys recently, or I guess I would say he's not striking out that many, so his strikeout walk ratio isn't really that good. He's not allowing a lot of runs, though. He's allowed more than 3 earned runs only once all season, which was his first start of his career against a Washington lineup that was hitting well back then. That was back in May. And they called him back up in June. He made one start, which was a lot better. And then he's been in the rotation for good since like July, pretty much, mid-July. He's got a pretty low hit rate here. His walk rate is pretty low on the season. But yes, his strikeout rate is low. He doesn't strike guys out. So he pitches to contact, which is why the advanced analytics guys don't like him. But his walk rate's low enough, even though it's gone up recently. It is low enough on the season that his strikeout walk ratio is not horrible. And his strikeout per 9 is indeed low. Thornton, what are we talking about here? They're going against, I never remember. Milwaukee, right? He did face Milwaukee once this year. And I remember because that was that game where I leaned to the Mets in the first 5. It was at Milwaukee. It was a winner, but I didn't give it out as a play. I remember being kind of angry I didn't give it out as a play. Thornton was good in that one. Milwaukee has 19 at-bats against them. They have no extra base hits, 158 average, 358 OPS, 2-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. So, yeah, Thornton has good numbers against them. The question is, does he actually match up well against Milwaukee, or was it more the unfamiliarity where Milwaukee couldn't figure him out, and now that Milwaukee's seen him once, they're going to do better against him this time? That would be my worry with Thornton here. I don't know which is going to be the case here, man. And then as far as like these pitchers being young and possibly throwing too many innings, I don't think either one has reached that threshold yet because Harrison was hurt for a while. Thornton hasn't really made that many starts. So let me see. I mean, maybe the under is still the right way to look at this game. The total is low at 7.5. The money is heavily backing the under. 63% of the tickets on the over, 90% of the cash on the under. Both teams are off yesterday, which can cool off the bats a bit. The bullpens are both good. Generally, I like both starters, and maybe you shouldn't weigh a small sample size that heavily for Harrison. Yeah, I mean, under might make some sense. I think I would also lean Mets in the first 5, though. Milwaukee looks like a very public side. I think the spot's a little bit better for the Mets, and Thornton does have the better matchup numbers. I would only go first 5, even though I like the Mets bullpen. I don't think they're better than Milwaukee's, though, so I would only focus on the first 5 if I was going to do that. And Milwaukee is very public, 90% of the tickets, although 93% of the cash, but they're around minus 160. You could take the Mets probably on the run line in the first 5, like plus a half run, and get a decent number on that, maybe, I would say. Or I guess if it's not that good of a number, you could go money line with them in the first 5. That would probably be my lean. I would lean Mets first 5. I think that probably is my best lean in that game is Mets first 5. I also do lean under in that game still, though. Sticking with my first instinct. Dodgers and Atlanta on TBS. This will be a pretty big matchup, so it gets a TV spot here. I looked at this matchup, and I was thinking, yeah, the Dodgers clearly have the better starting pitcher here, but you dig into the matchup numbers a little bit, and maybe not. Well, maybe it's closer. Atlanta is returning home, so I don't really love that. You know, I like to fade teams returning home from the road. I was like, oh, yes, we get Atlanta returning home from a road trip, and I think we have the better starter with the Dodgers, so I was really starting to lean to the Dodgers, and maybe I still do, and sticking with my first instinct again. But yeah, Atlanta just went to Minnesota. Then they played a weird makeup game against the White Sox, so they stopped off in Chicago. Then they were in Milwaukee for 2 games, and then they played Milwaukee in the Sunday Night Baseball game and got a win to finally get a win in that series in the Little League World Classic. So it could be a little bit of a letdown after all that, too. However, Atlanta's not going to overlook the Dodgers. That's the thing. Like, you know, it's not a team that you're just going to look past. Like, yeah, you might be distracted coming back home. And yeah, I know it doesn't look like it's a return home, but remember that's because that was the Little League World Series game, which was a neutral game. I hate how it just says versus there, so it makes it look like a home game. It was not. They should change how they display that, but whatever. It is a return home spot for Atlanta here. So it's still a negative spot, although I don't really think they're going to overlook the Dodgers. Dodgers are hot right now. Dodgers have won 6 games in a row. They just swept the Pirates, who might be pretty much dead here. Dodgers starting a road trip with momentum, though. Yeah, they're having to fly cross country, but it's easier to go east than it is to go west because it's basically just like you're playing an earlier game on your biological clock, like an afternoon game, which teams do all the time, so that's easier. So the spot definitely sets up better for the Dodgers here, I would say. Bullpen-wise, Atlanta does have the better bullpen. They're ranked third, although I think they're the fourth best bullpen, in my opinion, here. Although I would just be arranging it by ERA by saying that, but I think that is what I think, though. Dodgers are an okay bullpen. They're ranked, where are they at? 11th. Their ERA is below 4 again, at least. Dodgers are the number 2 ranked offense right now. Atlanta's 13th, so Atlanta's kind of fallen off offensively a bit. The Dodgers have been a good offense, although I think Acuna was hurt for a while, but he is back right now for Atlanta. As I was talking about with the starting pitching, though, Tyler Glasnow is making his return for the Dodgers. And you know I like this when a veteran pitcher is coming off the DL, and he's been on the DL for a long time. This is just like last year, man. Glasnow and Snell, they're both injured. Maybe the Dodgers are kind of making that up. Then they come back and they make some starts, and then they're ready to pitch in the postseason. It's ridiculous, man. This is going to be a pitching rotation. It's going to be so hard to beat. But I like these veterans that haven't pitched for a while in the majors returning, whereas a lot of guys don't like that because it's like, well, they're not used to it. But I kind of disagree. Like, yeah, they've had this long layoff, but, you know, they've worked hard to get back into a major league rotation. When they're veterans, they're used to doing stuff like this. Like, Glasnow's been injured repeatedly, so he's done this before and made comebacks like this before, so he's definitely used to it. He's probably pumped to get back out there. The team is probably pumped to have him back, so I could see that kind of rallying the team a little bit. And Glasnow was pitching well before he got injured. 2.72 ERA, .83 whip was really good. He was also really good on the road, 1.64 road ERA with a ridiculous 111 batting average on the road, allowed on the road, although he didn't make that many starts, though. He went down in early May and hasn't pitched in the majors since then. His numbers were just good across the board, though, and I mean, he's been doing this throughout his career. Low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate, all those numbers look good. Strikeout per 9, good. Strikeout walk ratio, good. You know, all of that, whatever. We don't really have to dive into it that much. We do want to see what his numbers look like against Atlanta. Those are Pittsburgh. Hang on. Yeah, so he has 65 at-bats against Atlanta. I did look at this earlier. He's pretty much dominated them. They have a 123 average, of 450 OPS against them, a 26-8 strikeout walk ratio, which is not too bad either. But yeah, he's really, really held this lineup down. So Glasnow should match up well here. So I think he should pitch well. Bryce Elder on the other side is clearly the lesser of the two pitchers here. Although his numbers aren't that bad, 3.92 ERA, 1.23 whip, and he is better at home, 3.42 home ERA. Good in his last start against Arizona here at home. Really not good in the previous start at home against the Mets, where we had a winner on the show with the Mets in that game, I believe. I might have been first 5 only, probably it was. Elder, though, I mean, that was the only start where he's allowed more than 3 earned runs since the beginning of July, though. And since that kind of bad start at the beginning of July against Pittsburgh, he'd allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start besides that one against the Mets. So I'm not about to say that he's really in bad form right now, though he's not really striking guys out, which is, he just doesn't really strike guys out. He's got a reasonably low hit rate here. He allows too many home runs, though, even though he's not really that fly ball heavy. His walk rate's okay. His strikeout rate is pretty low, though. So strikeout walk ratio is not really that good. Strikeout per 9, not really that good. Elder against the Dodgers, you would think that he doesn't do well against them because they're an elite lineup, but he actually does do well against them in 87 at-bats, 207 average, allowed 645 OPS, 20-10 strikeout walk ratio is not good, though. The under might actually be the best way to look at this game, although the money is all like indicating on the over. But you got 2 teams that were both off, so that could limit the offenses a little bit. These offenses are seen as good offenses, and I think good pitching overcomes good hitting. Both bullpens are rested, and they're not bad. I know the offenses are capable, but both starters look like they match up well here, and one is actually a good starter, Glasnow. So I think the under makes the most sense to me in this one. The total's at 8.5. 73% of tickets on the under, though. 79% of the cash on the over. I don't agree with that market read. And I also lean Dodgers, and the money doesn't agree with me on that either. 78%. I would say Dodgers first 5, though, because I don't think their bullpen is good enough against Atlanta's. Dodgers first 5, though, I think is a way to look at this game, because I think the spot sets up a lot better for them, and I think Glasnow is just the better pitcher over Elder, and I don't even think that's debatable. 78% of the tickets are on the Dodgers, 75% of the cash, though, so the money's not agreeing with it. They're about a minus 150 money line, down from minus 163. If you're going to play them in the first 5, you're probably going to have to lay a run line with it. Dodgers minus a half run, but I would agree with doing that. I think I prefer the under in this game, but yeah, I would also say Dodgers minus a half run in the first 5 would be the other way I would look at it. All right, Texas and the White Sox. I was correct about this game yesterday. White Sox bullpen game did not hold up yesterday. Kumar Rocker did all right, and the White Sox got killed in the game, really. So I was correct about the Rangers lean yesterday. Texas with an 11-2 win. Texas, I think, is a little bit more desperate than the White Sox, because the White Sox, they're atop their division, but they also have wild card potential here. Texas is probably going to have to win their division to get into the playoffs, and they're right there in the thick of their divisional race. So Texas is probably going to be the more urgent team here, which they were yesterday. Texas also has the better starting pitcher on the mound today, by the way. Texas used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Their bullpen hasn't really been that good this year. White Sox used 3 because they did kind of go with the bullpen game yesterday. So I don't know if I really love how either bullpen sets up here, although the White Sox have been the better one. They're ranked 15th. Texas is ranked 19th. Texas, just the guys that they have in the bullpen, I would think that Texas would be the better bullpen, but the numbers just have not indicated that this year. White Sox are definitely the better offensive team. They're 12th. Texas is 21st. Texas is a little bit better on the road than they are at home, though. Texas will be going with Jacob deGrom in this one. So his injury, I guess, was not an issue. He made a start after that. He's got a 3.77 ERA, 1.13 whip. So, I mean, obviously he's not what he used to be, but he is still having a really good season here. However, he's significantly worse on the road. He makes real good use of that Texas pitcher-friendly stadium, but on the road, he's not very good. 5.01 road ERA. He was really good last time out after it looked like he had the injury issue after that shortened start against the Angels. He came back and he blew away Washington last time out, but that was at home. 6 shutout innings of 1-hit ball with 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he was excellent in that start. And 2 of his last 3 starts have been good, but he is kind of like alternating good and bad starts here. So if he's going to alternate, that means this is going to be a bad start here. He does have a pretty low hit rate here. Doesn't really walk many guys. His strikeout rate is good, so his numbers are all really good across the board, except the home runs have kind of hurt him a little bit. Although even actually the home run number isn't even really that bad either. So I don't know. There really isn't a whole lot to dislike about how he's pitched this year. Although his road numbers are, yeah, I mean, maybe he just has a small road sample size or something. Those road numbers are ridiculously bad. It's not really that small of a sample size. I don't know. But yeah, his strikeout walk ratio is good. His strikeout per 9 is still pretty good. So really there's not a ton to dislike, except he's not that good against the White Sox, and he's not good on the road. 55 at-bats here, 273 average, 831 OPS, 18-4 strikeout walk ratio is good, but these numbers are not really that good against the White Sox. They've had the upper hand against him. White Sox are going with Anthony Kay, who continues to pitch better than I think that he should. 3.96 ERA, but his 1.33 whip is not very good. He's been fairly good at home, though. 3.2 home ERA. Still pitching pretty well recently. He's got a good 17-4 strikeout walk ratio this month. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start for the last 2 months. So he is not allowing a lot of runs here. His hit rate is okay. His walk rate is mediocre, I would say. He doesn't really strike a bunch of guys out, so his strikeout walk ratio is not going to be that good. So again, the advanced analytics guys would be like, yep, nope, we don't like this guy. He pitches to contact, and I don't like him either that much. I mean, his whip, which is what I really look at, I think it's not that good. His strikeout walk ratio is not really good. His strikeout per 9 is not great, so I still don't think he's that good. deGrom is obviously the better pitcher here, but deGrom has the lesser matchup numbers. Well, actually, maybe he doesn't. Kay actually doesn't do that well against Texas. My mistake. 17 at-bats. I'm trying to remember everything I went through earlier before I did the show, because I did look at everything. Rangers have 7 hitters who have faced him, and they hit 294 off him with an 839 OPS, 3-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I think maybe the over is in consideration here in this game. Both pitchers might give up something here. I know yesterday's game went over as well, and it was pretty much all Texas doing it. Money's backing the under in this one, but I don't really agree with that. The total is really low at 7.5, so the odds makers are respecting both starting pitchers here, but maybe I don't respect them as much. I mean, I don't like the matchup numbers here. I don't think K is actually any good, and deGrom's not good on the road, so I see more indicators towards an over here. But I don't love overs when the total's that low, when the odds makers are telling you they think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Although, you're playing a better number if you do like the over. 73% of tickets on the under, 89% of the cash on the under, so the money's backing the under. I don't agree with that. I like the over here, and I would also slightly lean to Texas. Texas does look like the money agrees with them. 65% of tickets, 80% of the cash on Texas. They're the more urgent team with the better starting pitcher here. Maybe you go first 5 with it just because I don't really know if I trust their bullpen. It's right around a pick'em price, although if you're going to play Texas in the first 5, you're going to have to pay like probably minus 130 for that because everybody, like the odds makers definitely know that that's where the biggest Texas advantage is. deGrom is definitely better than K overall. And his matchup numbers are actually better, even though his matchup numbers aren't really that good here. But I worry about those, and I worry about him on the road. So I think I would prefer the over to anything else in that one. Speaking of which, I believe I have a play in these next 2 games, and that's it for today from me. But we do have an over in this next game with Baltimore and St. Louis, even though I know these teams were off yesterday, so that could cool off the hitting. You get rested bullpens, but neither bullpen is really that good. And the starting pitching in this game, it's bad, especially in the home road splits, so I think we're going to get some runs here, even though it is a pitcher-friendly park. It is a situation with teams rested here, which usually I lean to an under in a situation like that. St. Louis, though, look at what they've been doing recently, though. Their last 5 games have all gone over the total, with totals of 9, 19, 13, 15, and 10. They're playing a lot of high-scoring games here. And yes, they're returning home from a long road trip here, which I guess is a little bit concerning. Oh, and by the way, so that was, how many games did I say that was? 7. So the last 7 games have gone over, but also 9 of their last 10 have gone over. And those 2 games against the Cubs that went over hit 12 and 15. And St. Louis is contributing themselves and also allowing a lot of runs. So they're playing a lot of high-scoring games right now. Yes, they're returning home from a long road trip, which I do think can stifle the hitting a little bit and cause the hitting to be distracted. So I don't love that. And St. Louis's record is very evil right now at 66 and 66, so I don't love that. But yeah, they're in a bad spot. St. Louis is returning home from a long road trip, so I was considering, well, maybe the Orioles would be worth a look here, but I immediately looked at this and I was like, nah, I don't want to back Chris Bassitt here either. So I landed on the over in this one. I think it's good enough for a play, even though, yes, St. Louis might have some distracted hitting here, but to me, I just think the pitching is not going to be very good here in this one. And I don't like the bullpens that much, like I said. St. Louis is ranked 22nd in bullpen, almost a 4.5 ERA. That's not good. Baltimore is better at 12, but their ERA is above 4. But we're also fading the starting pitching, of course, which I think could cascade into the bullpens. I know the offenses aren't very good. Baltimore 20th. They did trade guys at the trade deadline. St. Louis 24th. And a lot of times bad pitching will be able to have the upper hand against bad hitting, but in this case, I don't think so. I think you're looking at some bad pitching here. Chris Bassitt is back up for Baltimore. He's old now, man. He hasn't been good the last couple of seasons. I've been pointing out how bad he is the last couple of seasons, even though a lot of guys liked him last year because he wasn't allowing that many runs, but I was looking at his whip, and I'm like, he's not good, dude. And all he does is throw fastballs. Like, he changes the fastball and the way that it looks and whatever. He just throws a bunch of different types of fastballs. And if you figure out like what he's doing, like major league hitters could definitely hit that. He's got a 5.08 ERA, 1.62 whip is very bad. He's been very bad on the road, 7.28 road ERA. Since they brought him back up from the minors, he's been okay. He did all right against Tampa Bay, walked too many guys though. And then he was actually somewhat good against the Yankees. But he's still been too hittable here, so I don't really put that much weight into these starts. He didn't go that deep into these outings either. Both of those, one of those games went over the total. Tampa did. The game against the Yankees landed on 8, so it wasn't exactly low scoring. He's got a high hit rate here. His walk rate's not very good. His strikeout rate is pretty low. His strikeout walk ratio is really ugly. Below 2, worst that he's posted in his career. Yeah, that's not good. His strikeout per 9 has gone way down, although I know it's a small sample size, but he looks like he's just kind of running out of steam towards the end of his career here, man. I don't like it. And his numbers against St. Louis, even though they're not a good offense, they've been able to hit him, even though they only have 6 hitters who have faced him. 26 at-bats. It's a small sample, but they have a 308 average and 910 OPS against him. 3-1 strikeout walk ratio. So St. Louis has been able to hit him. And on the other side, I don't like Matthew Liberatore either for St. Louis. He's been bad. 5.04 ERA, 1.44 whip. He's a little bit worse at home. 5.16 home ERA and a 3.01 opponent batting average at home. That is not good. He's been pretty good in his last 2 starts. I'll give him that, with 15 strikeouts and 1 walk against the Cubs and the Reds, but both of those were on the road. And for whatever reason, he's better on the road. His last home start, he got lit up by Colorado, which is not good. And he got lit up by the Cubs in his home start prior to that. So even though he does look good right now and has a really good 25-4 strikeout walk ratio this month, so he's in decent form, his team is still losing most of his recent games. They've lost 5 of his last 6. And I don't trust him, man. I don't trust him at home. I don't think he's a good pitcher. I think he's in line for maybe a little bit of a setback in this one here. He's got a high hit rate. His walk rate's not very good. He allows a lot of home runs. His strikeout rate is fine. It's 1 per inning, which is pretty good. The rest of these numbers not that good, though. The walks are too high, so the strikeout walk ratio is not that good. Strikeout per 9 is the highest that he's posted, but that hasn't been enough. And his numbers against the Orioles are also not good, as you could probably guess, although it's only 12 at-bats, 5 hitters have faced him. So again, you don't want to overrate this, but they've been able to hit him. They have a 333 average, 1,051 OPS. Again, only in 12 at-bats, though. 3-1 strikeout walk ratio, but half of the guys that have faced him have had hits off him. So yeah, I think it's bad pitching all around in this game, really. So that's what I'm going to go with here. We'll go with the offenses to put up some numbers here. Money agrees with me on this. 60% of tickets on the over, 92% of the cash on the over. You might be able to find an 8 on this at a better number. I'll look and I'll update it in the description if I find a better number, because 8 and an 8.5, there's almost no difference. So you might be able to find an 8.5 at a cheaper price than this, I should say, because there's almost no difference between 8 and 8.5 in Major League Baseball. The odd numbers are key because they break all the ties. So if you find an 8.5 at a better number than this, obviously I would play that. I would probably do that instead of laying like an 8 minus 120, you know. It all depends on what the price looks like, but we'll see. I only found over 8.5 at minus 120, but the number might be a little bit better right now, so I'll update that accordingly. JC, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yes, sir. OMG, hi to everybody. Next game up is my last play, so this is the best bet segment, I guess. Cleveland and Anaheim. You probably know what I'm looking at here, because you know I like both of these pitchers. You know these offenses both suck. So what am I doing here? Yeah, you know what I'm doing. We're going to go under in this game, under 7.5. We get the key number here. We get under that hook, although you do have to pay a little bit of juice for this, minus 121. I mean, if you wanted to play a 7, I guess you could. First 5 is worth considering here, because I don't love Anaheim's bullpen, but these bullpens I think have been okay enough, and these offenses are so weak that I think we could do this and just extend it to the full game. And also, Williams for Cleveland, he's been going deep into some of his outings, so he might be able to allow the bullpen to rest a little bit longer here. So I think I'm fine with doing it this way, and I didn't see anything better than a 3.5 in the first 5, which I really don't love. So I say we just go full game with this. These teams did play yesterday, though. Cleveland did use their better relievers yesterday, but their bullpen has had some staggered usage here, so they're not really overworked here. Anaheim used 3 relief pitchers as well, which I believe Cleveland won again yesterday. So Cleveland, I told you they have an easy schedule to finish August, although their September schedule, I think, gets a little bit more difficult again. Anaheim, lost 4-2 yesterday. It was a return home spot as well. So Anaheim might be in a bounce back spot here. As I point out, when a team loses in that return home spot, a lot of times they do bounce back and play better in the next game. But I don't know how much motivation Anaheim's going to have. In Cleveland, is the team that needs to play with urgency because they're trying to make the playoffs here. So Cleveland will have more motivation. And Cleveland does have the more established starter here, and the starter that I'd probably rather back in this game, plus the better bullpen. So I wouldn't really want to fade Cleveland here. Cleveland's number 17 in bullpen. Anaheim's number 21, but their ERAs, they're not that bad. So whatever. I think we could roll with them in this game. And again, part of it is, though, because the offenses are terrible. In fact, these are the two worst offenses in baseball here. They're tied for last place right now. Yeah. And Anaheim is particularly not good at home offensively. And like I said, they have to deal with Gavin Williams here, who has been really, really good with his strikeout stuff this year. He's got a 3.72 ERA, 1.09 whip. All that's good. He's not quite as good on the road, 4.25 road ERA, but his opponent batting average is good on the road at 208. He just is a little bit wilder on the road, but he's not that bad on the road. Like I said, he's striking out a ton of guys recently. He had one bad start in there recently against San Diego. Bounced back all right with a pretty good start against San Francisco last time out, which I think that might have been, was that the game against the Tugboat? No, maybe not. I think that was a different game, actually, but I don't know. Williams overall, he's got a low hit rate here. He's hard to hit. His only problems are he does walk a few too many guys, and his home run rate is kind of high, especially given that he's not that heavy of a fly ball pitcher. So I think it's just because he throws so hard that when people connect with him, they hit it out of the yard. Maybe a little bit concerning there, but I don't know, man, because this is not a particularly hitter-friendly ballpark here. And he has a really high strikeout rate. He has one of the highest strikeout rates in baseball, so that's good. So the advanced analytics guys will love that. His strikeout walk ratio is almost double what it has been in his past seasons. So he's really increased his strikeout rate this year, and he's having his best season overall, like by far. His strikeout per nine is way up. His strikeout walk ratio way up, like I said. It all looks pretty good here, man. And he has decent numbers against Anaheim. They have 7 hitters who have faced him, 23 at-bats, 217 average is really low. 742 OPS, I know it's not that low. It's still below that 750 threshold. It's maybe being skewed because Trout has a home run and it's a small sample size. But yeah, they do have a couple extra base hits and a 6-3 strikeout walk ratio in there. But I like Williams to be able to handle this lineup here. And I like Walbert Ureña on the other side too, even though he does have issues with walks, but he's had a good season, man. He's been really difficult to actually score off of. He's got a 2.8 ERA, 1.24 whip. I know, indicates that his ERA probably should be higher than it is. He's still young, though, man. And like I said, I identified right away. I thought he was a good pitcher, looking at what his underlying numbers looked like. He's got to fix the walks, but if he does that, he's going to be really excellent, I think. He's been really good at home, so he's in the better of his home road splits. 2.27 home ERA with a 176 opponent batting average. That's really good. His walk rate has been really his one concern. He is still walking too many guys here, but he's not allowing many runs. Although he's had a couple of weaker starts in here recently, but those both came on the road. His last 2 home starts, he didn't allow any runs. His last 4 home starts, he's only allowed 2 runs across, 24 innings. So, yeah, he's been very, very hard to beat at home. He's got a low hit rate, so he's very difficult to hit. He does walk too many guys, though. His walk rate is definitely not good, and his strikeout rate is okay. But, yeah, it does mean his strikeout walk ratio is not good. He walks too many guys, but he's so hard to hit that a lot of guys, it's still really tough for guys to reach base against him. His strikeout per 9 is all right. He's also facing an extremely weak Cleveland lineup, and he did face them once earlier this year, and they didn't do well. 14 at-bats is what they currently have against him. 214 average, 643 OPS, 2.0 strikeout walk ratio. 7 of their current hitters have faced him. I think Ureña could do it again, even though I know he doesn't have the unfamiliarity against him now, so Cleveland will know more what to expect here, but there's such a weak offense, man, that I think the runs are going to be at a minimum in this game, so under is my play in this game. It's because of the combination of the way the pitching sets up and the hitting here. There it is. The money is backing the over in this game, though. I don't really understand why. 53% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the over. The total is really low. It's 7.5, so oddsmakers expecting it to be a lower scoring game. Money looks like it doesn't agree with me, but whatever. Money is back in Cleveland. I do slightly agree with that. Like I said, I think Cleveland has more urgency. and Williams is the more established pitcher and the one that has better command over his stuff. But Ureña is good, man. He's going to be good, I'm pretty sure. And he already is. 81% of tickets, 93% of the cash on Cleveland, especially at home. He's really good. Cleveland's about minus 140. I agree with Cleveland, but I think the under is the better play there, and it is good enough to be on my card. And that is my entire card for the day. I'll be right back. The way the timing works out, we're at about an hour here. I got 5 games left like I usually have. I'm going to talk about the rest of these games. I'll talk about WNBA. I don't have a WNBA play today. I will be right back. Yep, inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. All right, Cubs and Diamondbacks here. The Cubs won the game yesterday, I think 7-0. So I do like teams to bounce back after they get shut out at home like Arizona did yesterday. So I think Arizona could be in a bounce back. Plus, Arizona's the more urgent team here as they're fighting for a wild card spot here. Cubs technically also are, but the Cubs have a big lead in the wild card race, I think. So Arizona needs this game more, and they, again, should bounce back, I think, after yesterday's bad performance. So Arizona might be worth considering on the side here. I'm looking more at the total in this game, although I don't have a play on this game. Arizona used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Both bullpens in this matchup are decent. The Cubs used 2. Arizona's ranked 9th here, although they do still have an above 4 ERA out of the bullpen. Cubs are number 10, but they have the better ERA, but they're both capable bullpens here. Cubs are the number 1 offense right now. They've been hitting really well recently. Arizona's been hitting better since the All-Star break. They're ranked 16th, tied with the Yankees and the Phillies. But in this game, I think the pitching might outdo the hitting in this one. Clay Holmes is pitching for the Cubs. He's had a good season overall. He did break his leg and then wound up on a different team by the time he came back, so he's missed some time. He's got a 2.49 ERA and 1.11 whip, though, so those are good numbers. He's been a little bit worse on the road, 2.91 road ERA. He's made 3 starts with the Cubs so far. He was shaky in his first one against Kansas City, settled down and had a couple of good ones against St. Louis and the White Sox, both at home, though. But he's not striking anybody out, and that's kind of the issue with him. The advanced analytics guys are not going to love this because that's his issue. Like, he just doesn't have strikeout stuff. Over the course of the season, he does have a low hit rate. His walk rate is a bit too high. His strikeout rate is not great, so that's kind of what you get out of him. Strikeout walk ratio is not really that good. Strikeout per 9 also isn't really that good, although he did put up some better numbers strikeout-wise over some of his seasons in his career. So I don't know, man. Maybe the strikeout stuff will come back at some point. But he is not allowing many runs here, and he does have good numbers against the Diamondbacks. They have 37 at-bats against him. They only have 1 extra base hit, which is a double from Nootbaar, who they picked up at the trade deadline from He's a candy bar, man, with peanuts in it. They picked him up from St. Louis at the around the trade deadline. .216 average allowed, .536 OPS, 8.4 strikeout walk ratio, not good, but the rest of these numbers are pretty good. So Holmes has had the upper hand against this Arizona lineup. Brandon Pfaadt is on the other side here. He's been really good since being called back up from the minors, man. 3.39 ERA on the season now, and that includes when he was pitching like shit before they sent him to the minors. 1.14 whip. Pfaadt has turned his season around in a big way. He's not really much different home and away. His ERA is worse at home, but his opponent batting average is better at home. He kind of struggled last time out against the Red Sox, but they still won that game because that was one of those rare games where the Red Sox bullpen blew the game. Tolley was just kind of mediocre in the game. Not bad, but the bullpen surprisingly blew it, and the Red Sox wound up losing in extra innings. The Pfaadt was not really that good in that game, and the Red Sox had the lead early in that game. Pfaadt has been really good otherwise, though. His team has only lost one game since they called him back up from the minors, and he allowed no runs in that start against the Dodgers, and they lost that one in extra innings. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start except that most recent one against the Red Sox. Does that mean he's trending in the wrong direction? I don't really think so, because he also had 8 strikeouts and no walks there. So he's been striking a decent amount of guys out, and he's not walking guys anymore. So his numbers do look pretty good. It looks like he's in command still. And his numbers against the Cubs, believe it or not, are pretty good. In 85 at-bats, these are really good numbers. 165 average, 537 OPS allowed, 17-6 strikeout walk ratio. That's not great, but the rest of these numbers are good. So I think you got Pfaadt in good form here. You got good matchup numbers for both sides here. Both guys have had decent seasons overall. I'm leaning under in this one. The total's at 8 or 8.5, so it's in nowhere land there, no man's land. 80% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on the over. So the money seems to be kind of backing the over, but I like the under, as you can see, and I don't think either bullpen will kill you either in this one. So yeah, I think full game under is the best way to play this. The money's backing the Cubs, and I don't really agree with that. 70% of tickets, 84% of the cash on the Cubs at about a pick'em price. I would lean to Arizona again because they have more urgency. Pfaadt has strung together more good starts in a row than Holmes has. So I think Pfaadt has kind of established himself a little bit more as far as the current form is concerned. His matchup numbers, I don't know. His matchup numbers maybe are a little bit better as well in certain ways. I don't know. But I think it's the urgency plus Arizona bouncing back from the horrible game yesterday. You could go first 5 inning with it because I'm not really sure that Arizona really has a bullpen advantage here. They probably don't. So Arizona first 5 I think might be worth a look, although you might have to pay a favorite price for that. But I think that might be a look in that game as well, though I prefer the under. But first 5 Arizona I think is one way to look at it as well. Minnesota at the A's. I was correct about Minnesota in the first 5 yesterday, and they also won the full game. The A's were returning home from a road trip, but they took the last 2 against Houston, so I thought it was a bad spot for the A's, a letdown spot, plus returning home from a road trip. I did not like the A's. Plus, Minnesota, I guess, is still trying to make the playoffs here, even though I don't think it's going to happen. But Minnesota has more motivation here for that reason. Now, this is a spot where the A's did lose the first game back home, and a lot of times teams do bounce back from that. But in this case, Minnesota is going to be the team with more motivation, like I said, and they probably have the better starting pitcher going in this one, at least the more established one. Minnesota used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, but I hate both of these bullpens. The A's used 3, but these are bad bullpens. Minnesota is 28th. The A's are 29th. The A's are legitimately the worst bullpen, and Minnesota might be the 3rd worst. So these are bad bullpens. These teams both have been capable offensively. Minnesota 11th, the A's 15th, and we know we're in the A's stadium, which is very home run conducive. It's very hitter friendly. Taj Bradley is pitching for Minnesota here. He's had a pretty decent season, 3.9 ERA, 1.28 whip, although he's not as good on the road, 4.26 road ERA. He's pitching, well, I mean, he had a decent start last time out against the Braves. He was kind of struggling a little bit the prior couple starts. His walk number's been way too high recently. He's walked 3 or more guys in all but 1 start going all the way back to mid-July, so his command is not very good right now. He does have a low hit rate. He's hard to hit, but he walks way too many guys. His strikeout rate is good. So his problem is command. If he could figure out these command issues, he would be a good pitcher. He is very fly ball heavy, so that's kind of a concern in this stadium. He allows a decent amount of home runs, so that might not play well in this stadium. That combined with his wildness and the fact that he's not good on the road, or not as good at least. Strikeout walk ratio is not great because the walks are just way too high, even though he's striking out a lot of guys, so he does have good strikeout stuff. His numbers against the A's, not good, although they only have 4 hitters who have faced him, 15 at bats. It's a small sample, but they do have a 400 average against him and a 911 OPS. 911, that's not good. 3-2 strikeout walk ratio. I don't think I want to trust Bradley here in this one. Gage Jump is pitching for the A's. I don't think I want to trust him either, even though I think Jump has pretty good stuff. He's still a young guy, but he's had some real issues pitching in this stadium. 4.83 ERA overall this year. 1.51 whip is really bad. But he's been particularly bad at home, 6.02 home ERA. This stadium is just not good, man, for pitchers. He's not pitching well recently. He has a really ugly 20-15 strikeout walk ratio this month. None of this is good. The strikeout rate is fine, but he's been extremely wild over his last several starts. That's not good at all. He's been a little bit too hittable on the season, too. His hit rate is too high. His walk rate is definitely too high. His strikeout rate is good, so he does have good strikeout stuff, and that's why I was backing him early in the season. We did get some wins backing him, so I jumped off of the jump train at the right time. His strikeout walk ratio is not very good. His strikeout per 9 is good, but he's just way too wild. He walks too many guys, man. And his home run rate is, I guess, not that bad. Like, he's not a huge fly ball pitcher, but he's still really struggled in this stadium. Minnesota is unfamiliar with him, so Minnesota will have to figure him out on the fly, but I don't know if that's going to help him enough here. I think I would probably lean towards the over here. The money is not agreeing with me on this one either, though. The total's around 10. You might find a 9.5 somewhere, but there's not much of a difference between 9.5 and 10. You're not crossing any key number there. 62% of tickets on the over, 87% of the cash on the under. So money kind of backing the under. I think that's just because generally these pitchers aren't that bad, but I don't like it, man. I think the over makes more sense here. The home road splits both line up against both starting pitchers. The bullpens are both trash, so it would be a full game over, of course. Minnesota is getting some of the money, 87% of the tickets. They're very public, though. 90% of the cash. They're around minus 140 something here. I don't know, man. I mean, I think I would slightly lean towards the A's in the first 5. I think I would actually back Jump over Bradley just because he has the unfamiliarity at least, and it could be a potential bounce back for the A's here at least. And you're probably paying a little bit too much of a price for Minnesota because everybody knows that they need to win. So that's how I look at that. But I think the over is, like, by far my strongest opinion in that game. Philadelphia at Seattle. I was right about Seattle bouncing back again yesterday. Seattle, after both of their really embarrassing blowout losses recently, they bounced back with a win in both cases. They did it yesterday as well. Good win for Seattle yesterday. That was against Zach Wheeler, right? I think there's something a little bit off about Wheeler right now. But Seattle has more motivation here, I think, because Philly is... Well, I mean, both teams are fighting to make the playoffs. Philly, I think, is a little bit more secure in their playoff spot. Seattle is kind of going to need to win their division if they have any hope of making the playoffs. So Seattle, I think, does have more urgency here. On the surface here, you'd think Seattle does have the better starter here in this game, but I don't actually think so, believe it or not. Seattle used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. I don't really love either of these bullpens at this point. Philly also used 3. Philly is ranked 18th out of the bullpen. Seattle 20th. They both have not great metrics here, so they're both kind of mediocre bullpens here. Seattle's been very bad offensively. They're 27th. They moved up a little bit again recently, but they've had some real issues offensively over the course of the season. Although Raleigh hit 3 home runs last night. He's the only Seattle player to ever hit 3 home runs in one game in that stadium. And people were like, oh, Seattle sucks if they don't have a guy that's done that before. I'm like, it's a really pitcher-friendly park. Did you want to guess how many opponents have done that against them in the stadium? The answer is 1. So, like, I don't know how you could make fun of, like, that's not a reason to make fun of Seattle because none of their hitters have hit 3 home runs in one game in that stadium. Only 1 opponent had ever done it in the history of the stadium. So, it's just really, really a rarity in a stadium like this. It's not a home run stadium. That hitter that did that was Victor Martinez, by the way, who was probably on Cleveland when he did it. I would have to look, and maybe it was with the Red Sox, but if it was, I don't remember it. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, hitting. Yeah, Seattle not really that great. Phillies have been better recently. They're 16th right now, tied with the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. But the Phillies are not as good of an offensive team on the road. This is a pitcher-friendly park here. Aaron Nola is going to get the start for Philly. Not a good season from him. 5.12 ERA, 1.42 whip. However, just like last year, trying to come back from injury, and he's pitching way better at the end of the season, just like last year. He's been quite good recently. He's had several good starts in a row here. This month, he has a 30-7 strikeout walk ratio, and he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in his last 3 outings, striking out at least 8 in all 3 of those. He's pitching pretty well right now. The Nola hate maybe needs to subside because he's pitching better right now. His hit rate is still bad on the course of the season. His home run rate is very bad on the course of the season, but he's doing way better right now, man, and the home runs are less of a... He is still giving up home runs, but the home runs are less of a concern in this stadium. Does have kind of a high walk rate here. His strikeout rate is actually good, so he does still have his strikeout stuff, and his strikeout per 9 and strikeout walk ratio are both not bad. So he does kind of still have his stuff here, man. He might be coming around again and maybe kind of regaining some of his form here. He's also been pretty good against Seattle, although they only have 42 at-bats against him, but most of them are Robles, who has 22 at-bats against him. They have 5 hitters who have faced him, but he's dominated them. 190 average, 424 OPS, 17-1 strikeout walk ratio. Those are really good numbers for Nola. He'll be going up against George Kirby on the other side here. Kirby, I think he's mediocre, man. 4.18 ERA, but his whip is really not that good. 1.36. He is definitely better at home. 3.4 home ERA. So he takes advantage of this home stadium here. He's in the way worse form out of these two pitchers. His last 2 starts were both bad, although they were both on the road against teams that can hit, Houston and Milwaukee. But he's got a 10-8 strikeout walk ratio this month. That's not good. He's not really striking guys out right now. He's walking too many. He's been too hittable on top of that. 3 of his last 5 starts have been bad, although granted, all of those bad starts are on the road. But he's got a high hit rate here. His walk rate is fine. His strikeout rate is pretty low, though. I don't know. He's got a decent strikeout walk ratio because he doesn't really walk anybody, but he's way too hittable, and he is kind of seeing too many walks recently. His strikeout per 9 is the lowest that it's been throughout his career this year, so that's not great. His numbers against Philly are good, though. 39 at-bats, 128 average, 381 OPS, 13-1 strikeout walk ratio. So I would lean to the under in this game still. Both pitchers do match up all right. Kirby's in the better of his home road splits. The total's low at 7.5. It's low for a reason. Money seems to agree with that one. 59% of the tickets, 55% of the cash on the over. So the money seems to be indicating on the under. I think that is the better way to play this game, is to play the under. Both bullpens might be all right enough to leave in, because if you go first 5, 3.5 is probably going to be the number you're looking at there. But yeah, Nola might be kind of a sneaky way to look because he's pitching better now and his numbers still don't look good, but he's in way better form right now. And if you want to take into account which pitcher is in the better form, that's definitely Nola. So I would lean towards Philly here in this game as well. And the money seems to agree. 63% of tickets, 85% of the cash on Philly. So, yeah, I would lean that way as well. The money seems to agree with that. You'll be getting probably around a pick'em price there. You could look Philly first 5, because I don't know if either bullpen is really that trustworthy. I think you could make the argument Seattle's bullpen is the better one. I mean, based on who they have in the bullpen, they should be the better one, I would say. So Philly first 5 might be a way to look, although you might have to pay a favorite price for that. But those would be the ways I would attack that game. Probably the under is the best way. Pittsburgh at San Diego on ESPN Unlimited. We got the under right in the game yesterday. Pittsburgh won in a dramatic finish in the 12th inning with a Nick Gonzalez 12th inning RBI. I don't like Pittsburgh's bullpen much, and they used a lot of guys yesterday because it was a long extra inning game, so both bullpens are taxed here. Pittsburgh used 6 guys. San Diego also used 6. So basically everybody came into the game yesterday, so I would avoid both bullpens in this game. San Diego's number 6 in bullpen, although I think they're probably it's between them and the Braves, right? All right, I'll say San Diego's the 5th best bullpen right now then, although that would again be just arranging it by ERA. Pittsburgh's not that good. They're 23rd, although they're not awful, and we did back them yesterday in that underplay there. Pittsburgh is a good offense. They're number 5, but they're not as good on the road, and this is a pitcher-friendly park. San Diego's been better since the All-Star break. They're still 23rd overall. Paul Skenes has not been shut down, so he is getting the start here, apparently. 3.95 ERA, very un-Skenes-like numbers here. Even though those numbers aren't even that bad, they're not what you expect from him. 1.14 whip. He's not as good on the road, 4.4 road ERA, but this is a pitcher-friendly park. He's struggling right now, though, man. His starts have not really been that good recently. He's not going deep into these outings. He's only really had one good start in his last 5, which was at Miami. But similarly to that game, this is another road game in a pitcher-friendly park, so he did do well in that other environment in Miami that was similar to this. But his walk rate's been too high recently. There's something going on with him, man. Like, his velocity's not really quite there. He does still have a low hit rate on the season. His walk rate's not too bad on the season. His strikeout rate is still really high on the season. So those numbers are still good. The strikeout-walk ratio is still good, but not as good as what he usually does. Strikeout per 9 is still right in line with what you usually get out of him. So his strikeout stuff is still there. He is generally good against San Diego. They have 24 at-bats against him, 125 average, 442 OPS, 8-2 strikeout-walk ratio. I lean towards Skenes still pitching pretty well here, but there are definitely some question marks there. Michael King is pitching for San Diego. Advanced analytics guys don't like him because he doesn't have strikeout stuff, but his numbers are pretty good, and they've been good consistently throughout his career. 3.38 ERA, 1.17 whip this year. He's pretty good at home, 3.21 home ERA. He's been pretty good recently. He hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any start, going back quite a ways, going back into May. He's allowed 3 or fewer, in all but 1 start since the beginning of July. So he's doing well here. He's got a low hit rate. He's hard to hit. His walk rate is a little bit high. His strikeout rate is kind of down. It's not really that good. So his strikeout walk ratio is not that good. So the advanced analytics guys will key on that and say that he's not that good. But I still think he's not that bad, although his strikeout per 9 is way down this year. So he did have a better strikeout rate throughout most of his career, which that is a little bit of a concern. But he is still pitching effectively here anyway. And he's got decent numbers against Pittsburgh and 40 at-bats, 250 average, 718 OPS, 12-4 strikeout walk ratio. So I do think this is an under lean in this game. I'm not going to actually want to do it because there are definitely some concerns with Skenes right now. King, the advanced analytics guys don't like him. I kind of like him. The odds makers are pretty much telling you that it's going to be a low-scoring game by lining the total at 7.5. The money is coming in on the under as well. So if you're going to play the under, you're going to have to get 7.5 under with juice basically here. 76% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the under. So money is backing the under, and the money is backing Pittsburgh. 59% of tickets, 54% of the cash on San Diego. They're about a minus 120 favorite. But San Diego, the thing is, everybody knows they need to win. Like, San Diego's still in the wild card race here. Pittsburgh is basically done for the season. But it looks like the professional money wants to back Skenes here. And it's like, well, when are you going to get Skenes as an underdog? It's not that often. And if Skenes is anything close to what he typically is or what he could be, he should be able to outpitch King here. So I wouldn't really disagree. I would say Pittsburgh first 5 because, Pittsburgh first 5. Like, I don't like Pittsburgh's bullpen really at all. So Pittsburgh first 5, I think, is the way I would play the side in this one. But I would play the under in this game if I was going to play it. However, like I said, I forgot the bullpens are very, very unrested here after yesterday's long game. So I think the only way you could really attack the under is to limit it to the first 5, but then you're going to be looking at a 3.5 or maybe a 3. So that's a little dangerous. I don't love that. But yeah, I think that is probably the best way to play this game, though, is the first 5 under. But if you think your starting pitchers can get you kind of deeper into the game, I don't know. Maybe the full game isn't off the table, but I don't like the usage of the bullpens there. Cincinnati and San Francisco is the last game on the slate here. Doesn't look like good pitching in this game. San Francisco won the game 5-0 yesterday. I don't know how. In a return home spot against Chase Burns, and Burns wasn't great, and Cincinnati couldn't do anything against Wisenhunt. What the hell was that? I honestly have no idea what happened in that game, man. I guess I could look at the box score real quick. Devers did hit a home run, and that was kind of it there. I don't know. Burns was still good with his command numbers. Just he got hit around in that game. I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, I don't like either bullpen here. Cincinnati used 3 guys out of the bullpen in that game. San Francisco used a bunch. They used 5. Normally, San Francisco is the better of these two bullpens. They're ranked 24th. Cincinnati 25th, but with their ERA almost a half run higher. But San Francisco's usage was more yesterday, so I would avoid both bullpens here in this one. As far as the hitting, neither team is really very good. San Francisco 22nd, Cincinnati 26th. Not good stuff there, and it is a pitcher-friendly park. However, these pitchers are not good. Brady Singer is pitching for the Reds. He has not been great. 4.72 ERA, 1.42 whip. He's not good on the road, so for whatever reason, even though his home stadium is hitter-friendly in Cincinnati, he's way worse on the road. 5.75 road ERA with a 3.05 opponent batting average. That's really bad. He's been pitching okay recently, but mostly at home. He's had a lot of home starts recently. His recent road starts haven't been too bad either, though, so he is pitching a little bit better right now. He does have a high hit rate on the season, though. He allows a lot of home runs. His walk rate's not really that good. His strikeout rate is low, so none of those numbers are good. Strikeout-walk ratio is not great. Strikeout per 9 is one of the lowest that he's posted, so that's not great either. Numbers against San Francisco are not particularly good. They only have 5 hitters who have faced him, though, and a lot of at-bats from Devers, which is really the majority of them. Devers has hit him well. 21 at-bats, 286 average, 842 OPS, 4-1 strikeout-walk ratio. So Singer, not good on the road, doesn't really match up that well against San Francisco. I would say if you're going to play this game, I would pick Singer must start, but don't pick a starter for San Francisco because they have Adrian Hauser listed as a starter, but they've definitely put an opener in front of him multiple times, so they might do that again. I think Hauser will be in this game, and he's not that good, but they might put an opener in front of him. Hauser has a 4.08 ERA this year. 1.31 whip is not that good. A lot of these numbers are coming out of the bullpen. He has been better at home, 3.75 home ERA. He's allowed no runs in his last couple of starts here, so he's actually pitching fairly well recently, but I don't know if that's enough for his last appearances, since I'm not sure any of them were actual starts. His hit rate is right at 1 per inning, which isn't really that great. His walk rate's okay. His strikeout rate is very low, though, so he doesn't really strike guys out. He doesn't put a ton of guys on base, really, but his strikeout-walk ratio isn't very good. Strikeout per 9, not very good. I don't think he's that trustworthy of a pitcher. However, I was going to say, I thought he was good against the Reds. He isn't, though. 86 at-bats, 279 average, 780 OPS. Not great. 14-6 strikeout-walk ratio. I think I would play the over in this one if I was going to play it. I don't love necessarily playing overs in San Francisco, and the money doesn't agree with it. 74% of tickets on the over, 66% of the cash on the over. Total's at 8, so it's a somewhat low total here. More pitcher-friendly environment, but Singer is not good on the road. Neither pitcher has good matchup numbers. However, both pitchers are in okay current form, and Hauser is better at home, at least. So, I don't know. Do with that information what you want, but I would still lean over in this game if I was going to do anything with it, which I won't. San Francisco is a favorite at around minus 110. Neither team has anything to play for, though, which is another reason why I kind of like the over here. It's just kind of like, you know, when teams have nothing to play for, I don't know. To me, it almost sort of becomes more like of a scrimmage, right? So I don't know, man. Although if focus is not really there, it might affect the hitting negatively. I don't know. I'm better at handicapping totals in other sports where, like in basketball, football, whatever, if both teams don't give a shit about the game, it usually means the defense is not going to be intense, which usually means the over. But in baseball, it might be a little bit different. Even though I do play totals, like my totals are basically matchup dependent. 61% of tickets are on San Francisco, 88% of the cash at Cincinnati. The money is backing Cincinnati. I don't know about that, man. I mean, Singer has been better recently. He's the more, I guess, established starter, but I don't have a good read on the side at all here. My only read on that game is the over. All right, then let's see. WNBA, we have 3 games here. The first game is very ugly. Chicago at Connecticut in the first game of the night. Connecticut is losing a bunch of games. What else is new? They played Chicago in Chicago not too long ago and lost by 6. And I think we missed the cover in that game, if I remember correctly, by like a half point. So I'm pissed about that if that was the case. Connecticut's returning home from the West Coast here. Although they were only out there since Thursday, they played 2 games out there and lost them both to Vegas and to a pretty bad LA team. LA was kind of in a zigzag spot, though, because Connecticut, they actually beat LA at home the two games prior to that. Now, Connecticut's going to have to readjust to the time zone here, although it's easier to do that going east. But I still don't like it. It's still a return home spot. Could be a negative spot here. They got Golden State and Indiana coming up next. Golden State tomorrow, and then Indiana, Dallas, Atlanta, Minnesota, Washington. Those are all bigger opponents than Chicago is. So Connecticut might not have full focus here on Chicago, so I don't really love Connecticut here. Chicago's coming off getting blown out by Indiana, and now they're going on the road, coming in from Chicago, of course. They do have New York next in a few days, which is a big CBS game over the weekend. They might look ahead to that, but I think the spot sets up a little bit better for the Sky because they had that kind of embarrassing loss to Indiana there, which was the game where Ennis Cantor or whatever was in the stands taunting, and the Sky kind of got into a fight with them. I was just making fun of it. I'm like, dude, if the Sky had Cantor on their team right now, an actual NBA player, like they'd obviously just be instantly like one of the better teams in the league just by adding him to their lineup. Like, this is all so stupid. But anyway, I would probably lean Chicago in this game slightly. I don't have a good opinion on this. The money seems to agree with me on this. You got to lay 6.5 with them now, though. Does that mean Griner is not playing here? I don't know, man. But 64% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Chicago. The money is coming in on Chicago. I think nobody's going to want to do that because their record is so bad. The public never wants to lay points like this with a bad team. But I think it might be the way to look at this game here. It looks like Griner is out. Well, actually, Griner is supposed to come back in this game, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. And Diggins has been out for the Sky for a while, I think, so I don't think that is really going to indicate much. But Griner is questionable, so I don't know. The fact that this line went up a couple points kind of tells me Griner's probably not playing here, but whatever. I think I would lean to Chicago anyway in that one, but there's no way I'm going to make that a play. Not a strong opinion. I don't really have many strong. I think the last game in this slate is probably the best opinion I have, and it's really just a market-based read. Dallas is playing Portland. Dallas is definitely the better team. They're probably going to be a playoff team, although they're dealing with some injuries at this point. They're coming off an easy win over Seattle. They're staying at home here. They don't really have any big games around this, so they might show up for a game against Portland. I mean, the last time they played Portland, they almost got caught. They only won by 4, and they actually lost the other game to Portland in Portland, so maybe Dallas won't overlook them here. Portland's not a very good team. Portland is coming in from losing to Washington. So they are starting a road trip here, I believe, which usually is a focus spot. They're probably not going to overlook Dallas, but coming off kind of a tougher game against a better defense, although that game is very high scoring against Washington. I don't have a whole lot on this one, man. The money's coming in on Portland. I don't know what to think about that. 50% of tickets, 85% of the cash on Portland. You're getting like 8.5 or 9 with them, but this is a high total. The Chicago-Connecticut game is a low total, and so is the last game I'm going to talk about. Those games are both in the 160s. This game is in the 170s, so it's a little bit of a higher, it's more of a mid-range total, I guess. I don't have a good feel for the side here. I could see the argument for the over in this game, Portland and Dallas, because I don't think either team is very good defensively, even though Portland has kind of cleaned that up a little bit recently. Both teams kind of get involved in high-scoring games, and that might be what happens here. 50% of tickets, 63% of the cash on the over, so the money does agree with that. I don't really do WNBA totals, though. And then the last game is the game that I was looking at the night game, which is Washington and Phoenix. People are going to look at this and see Washington has a positive record, a good record. They have a positive road record. Phoenix has a very bad record and also not good at home, yet Washington's only a 1.5-point favorite here. And yeah, part of that is because they're on the road, although home court advantage isn't that strong in the WNBA. But you know the public's going to look at this and think it looks so easy to take Washington here. So that has me really hesitate, right? Like that has me looking towards Phoenix because it's like, why would Washington only be favored by 1.5 here? Well, Phoenix they do have I believe she's still there. They do have Kelsey Plum, so that definitely improved their rotation a bit with Phoenix there. So they're a better team with her there. Phoenix plays in a more difficult conference, the West, and they've had one of the more difficult schedules. So I keep saying I think Phoenix is not quite as bad as their record looks, and Plum wasn't there for most of this, so they are better with her there. Washington is definitely a good defensive team, but I don't know if I want to lay points on the road with them, even though this is basically a pick-the-winner situation. It just looks way too easy to play Washington. Now, Washington is coming off kind of a whatever game against Portland, which I already mentioned. They had a big game against Minnesota the game before that. They're playing a lot of games in quick succession here, though. Like, they're playing a fourth game in the last, whatever this is. What is this? 7 days. So they've had kind of a packed schedule here, and they've had to travel between the last 3 of these games. So, yeah, the spot isn't exactly great, and Washington did just beat Phoenix at home by 20 at the beginning of August, so they might not fully pay attention to Phoenix here. Phoenix is coming off kind of a tough game as well against Atlanta, where they lost the game, but Phoenix is staying at home. They're more rested. Before that, they hadn't played since Sunday, so Phoenix is the way more rested team here, which probably is being factored into the line a little bit, but mostly it just looks way too easy. Like, I don't think there's that much to do with the spot here, but it looks way too easy to play Washington. So, yeah, I would play Phoenix, and I think if I was going to play any of these games today, it would be that one. I would take Phoenix plus, like, the 2. You can get them plus 2, maybe even 2.5 at this point. The market seems to agree. 67% of tickets on Washington, 70% of the cash on Phoenix. So, yeah, that's what I would be looking. That's the way I would be looking. I'd be looking towards Phoenix there. That's going to do it, man. Check out my college football show if you didn't watch it from yesterday. I still have to update the thumbnails and whatever and get it out on audio. I made a few mistakes, like not remembering the Tulane won their conference last year, but it's also kind of irrelevant anyway. But I gave out some information about what all the different like roster changes are and stuff like that. So you can check that out if you want. Just kind of a breakdown of where I thought there might be some value in the futures market. College football will be starting this weekend, so subscribe to the channel here, man, and you'll get you get the notifications when I do the other football stuff. I still have NFL preview stuff to do. Anyway, the plays today are Kansas City Royals first 5 money line, over 8.5 in Orioles St. Louis, or you might be able to find an 8. I got to look at what the market looks like now and see if I can find a better number on that. And then also under 7.5, which you do have to pay a little bit of juice for, in Cleveland and Anaheim. If it gets to be about minus 125, I would say start looking towards playing it under 7 instead, even though I know it's on that key number instead of above it. Yes, Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel here. Like I said, you'll be notified with the football content coming out. We're going to start doing the night football content again. Probably I'll just start doing that Friday night, I guess. I don't know. It depends on what I'm doing. Well, I don't know. I got to figure that out. Yeah, Friday night probably will. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I'll figure it out. But yeah, subscribe and you'll get notified. It's going to be a short slate, though, for college football for week 0, but whatever. Listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, covered in uke. My ukulele channel on YouTube is there. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. The New York Giants G-Spot podcast and Losercast will be back tonight. Got to figure out who I want my loser to be. We'll figure it out. That's going to do it. I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer, let somebody know. You do not have to lose this round alone. Hold on, not tonight, not now. You're still here now.